We're here now with our Group 2 expert, Danny Rode. And Danny, you have some interesting matchups here. Lots of home games, as you mentioned. Let's start with the Poinsettia Bowl. It's in San Diego. San Diego State and Navy playing in this one.
All right. Well, San Diego State is in. The game is in San Diego, so San Diego State does have a home game, but they also don't have a lot of fans that tend to go to the games. And Navy has a main base in San Diego, so it's going to be an interesting contest there. And Navy with the option attack, led by Ricky Dobbs. I'm taking them in the upset, but San Diego State has had a good season this year. Their first bowl game since 1998.
And we can stop the Brady Hoke rumors if you are correct, and Navy does beat San Diego State. But I have a feeling just to keep those rumors going, San Diego State will pull that one out. All right, now how about the Hawaii Bowl? Joy to the world, Hawaii's back in the Hawaii Bowl, everybody, on Christmas Eve. They're going to play Tulsa. Shavadrik Beaver, still number 2 on the Tulsa depth chart, so screw you, Shabby Beavs. Who do you have in this one, Hawaii or Tulsa?
Both these teams have come off tough seasons last year. They're both back. Hawaii's 10-3, Tulsa's 9-3. Hawaii's also beat Nevada this year. They had a tough game against Boise State. They also lost to USC at the beginning of the year in a high-scoring affair. But I think Hawaii, with the home field advantage in this game, is going to pull it out. They don't have to deal with all the festivities. They're used to playing in Hawaii. And for Tulsa, it's going to be a long trip. Players might get. It's Hawaii. It's January. It's 80 degrees.
Well, we've seen that with some other teams already, so that's not a unrealistic thought to have. Now, from tropical Hawaii to tropical Detroit, the Little Caesars Bowl, Toledo and Florida International, pretty much a home game for Toledo. And, of course, you just recently were at Ford Field, so a great setting for a football game. Who do you think is going to come out in this one?
I have Florida Internationals. Their first bowl game. Right. Their first bowl game, and Toledo they've played at Ford Field a few times, but I really feel like Florida International has the ability to come in with a lot of upperclassmen playing in their first bowl game to really come out after losing their last game against Middle Tennessee. They've won their conference. They won the Sun Belt, or tied with Troy, and in the MAC, Toledo, they went 7-1 this year. They finished second behind Northern Illinois. But I like Florida International in the upset.
It's a very weak MAC this year, for sure. Now, how about the Independence Bowl, Georgia Tech and Air Force? There may be 3 or 4 passes in this game, all unintentional.
Yeah, well, both of these teams are among the top teams in the country in rushing, and neither of them can stop the run. So it's probably gonna be a lot of rushing this game. Georgia Tech head coach Paul Johnson used to coach at Navy, and part of the service academies they play often, and he won his last 5 games against Air Force. But I'm going to take Air Force in this one, partially because they're getting a lot of their players back from injury, and I don't know if Nesbitt is going to be 100% for the game.
Yeah, that'd be a big blow to the BCS if one of these non-BCS schools in Air Force knocks off a BCS school in Georgia Tech. And finally, in your group, Danny, Champ Sports Bowl, West Virginia, a school we're all familiar with at Michigan just because we see all their coaches, and NC State. NC State, their quarterback Ryan Wilson, former baseball player, he's thrown a lot of balls to their team, 14 interceptions so far this year.
Well, Russell Wilson, the junior, has done really well this season. He was rusty at the beginning of the year, but he's come on strong. They've had a lot of late wins against UNC, UCF, other teams.
Florida State as well.
Yeah, are teams that maybe they should have not have beaten, but they got away and got out on top. And then West Virginia with Noel Devine, the Heisman candidate beginning of the year. And then they have a lot of young talent there with Geno Smith as the quarterback. But I'm going to take West Virginia in this game because they have a lot more bowl experience, and I really feel that the Big East is going to do better than the ACC.
All right, thanks a lot, Danny, for your insights. Now let's take a look at my picks, Adam's, David's, and Scott's as well. All right, grouping number 2, guys. Some interesting games, actually, believe it or not, in this group. You can see our picks on screen right now. San Diego State and Navy in the Poinsettia Bowl is a game that we're pretty split on here. Let's start with you, David. Why Navy over San Diego State? Brady Hoke, is he going to be the next Michigan coach? You can answer that as well.
No, I don't think so. But I think that the rushing game of Navy will stack up against this team. Alexander Tyke and Ricky Dobbs both very strong on the ground. So I really think this Navy team has a great chance to win this game, run all over the place, and I just really like them in this one.
All right, but Scott, you have San Diego State, as do I. Why San Diego State?
San Diego State put up 35 points against TCU, and that's got to tell you something. They only lost to TCU by 5 points, and all their other losses to quality teams. They're 8-4, but their 4 losses are to pretty good teams. So if you look at San Diego State's schedule and Navy's schedule, none of them are great, but San Diego State, I think, has a better body of work.
All right, the Hawaii Bowl, thank goodness the Hawaii Bowl finally has Hawaii back in it, because why else would you watch a bowl game on December 24th, Christmas Eve? Tulsa has 115th worst pass defense in the country, guys. So we all went with Hawaii on that one because Hawaii likes to throw the ball around. June Jones left, but the passing game is definitely still there. From tropical Hawaii, I already made this joke once. I'll make it again, to tropical Detroit, the Little Caesars Bowl, Toledo and Florida International. By far the best bowl location. We can all agree on that.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Scott, who do you have? Adam, who do you have in this game and why?
I had Toledo this year. They were a second-tier MAC team, but they're certainly one that's going to surprise people. Florida International doesn't really have any of the quality wins against Toledo, not necessarily anything special either, but I think Toledo's offense is going to get them through that game.
All right, let's move on to the Independence Bowl, guys. This is really an intriguing matchup. Georgia Tech, Air Force, two teams that just run the ball. That's all they do. Actually, Air Force, 115th in the nation in passing yards. Georgia Tech bests them with 117th. So this could be the quickest game of any of them, except for the fact that neither of these teams can stop the run, David.
Well, that's true, and I think because of that, you're going to see the ball on the ground a lot. However, somebody's going to have to mix it up at some point, and that's not going to be Georgia Tech. Josh Nesbitt, their quarterback, completes 37% of his passes. That's not very good, and it's not going to get it done. Even though they're going to run the ball 30, 40 times in this one, I just don't like Georgia Tech because if they get behind and have to throw the ball, I don't see them having the ability to.
And Adam, you went with Georgia Tech. Why Nesbitt? Why is Nesbitt going to turn it around in this game?
Size. Georgia Tech is a bigger team than Air Force is, and that will allow them to run the ball more effectively over Air Force than Air Force will be able to do over Georgia Tech. Again, ACC might not be the strongest conference, but Georgia Tech does play a better schedule, having to face teams like Virginia Tech, Florida State, Clemson, Miami, teams that help bolster their schedule, and they do play a tougher record, and I really do think it comes down to size a lot.
All right, in the last game in this set, the Champs Sports Bowl used to be a Big Ten tie-in, no longer. West Virginia from the Big East and NC State from the ACC. A confident West Virginia from myself, Scott, and David, but Adam, just quickly, why NC State?
I think NC State, yeah, they kind of cooled off a little bit, but they're going to be able to get back to their roots, get their offense going again, and really catch up. You have a lot of time to prepare for a bowl game. Disappointing finish to that season. I think NC State wants to go out and prove to people, hey, we weren't just this team that only played half a season.
All right, well, we have to go to commercial break, but coming back on the other side, we're going to look at Section 3. There's more intriguing matchups there. Stay tuned.
And your mother was begging Barack to stop.
Hey guys, how's it going? Are you ready for the show?
Of course I am, you knucklehead. Who do you think I am? I'm Sir Charles Barkley.
I don't know. Look at yourself before you pass judgment. Okay.
David, I was promised 8 pounds of turkey in exchange for appearing on Varsity Blue. Where is my turkey? That is my question.
But have you guys even thought about if Rich should get fired or not this year?
What are you saying? Is it true? Sure. Indeed. Yes. 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 I mean it this time.
No, David, I will not answer your question until you give me the turkey that I was promised in exchange for appearing on the show. I cannot think until I get my turkey. We are
Varsity
Varsity
Blue.
Blues.
If I had one word to describe Varsity Blue, it would definitely not be terrible, you knucklehead. Alexander Prasad.
Up next on Varsity Blue, the gang engages in a thoughtful dialogue. What did you say? I don't even listen to you when you talk, to be honest. I'm thinking about what
He
the next
listed the
one is.
career statistics down to the down to it.
That's
The
it,
quarterback
okay.
has 94 career touchdowns. Not
take a
a
moment to
lot.
remember-
94.
Your Group 3 Bowl matchups. In the Insight Bowl, 10-win Missouri plays Rick Stanzi, Marvin McNutt, and the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Baylor Bears make the 3-hour drive to the Texas Bowl to claw at the Fighting Illini. Remember the Alamo Bowl as the nation's #1 offense at Oklahoma State lays siege on the Arizona Wildcats. The East Carolina Pirates will be at full ramming speed as they hunt down the Maryland Terrapins in the Military Bowl. Finally, basketball powers collide in the baseball stadium for the Pinstripe Bowl, featuring Syracuse and Kansas State. Your Group 3 Bowl matchups.
All right, now we welcome in our expert for group number 3, Chris Kudialis here of WCBN and the Michigan Review, right, as well.
Yes, sir.
We're talking Insight Bowl first, Iowa, Missouri. Now this game in the off season, or this dead period in between the last game and regular season in the bowl, season. It's thrown a lot of curveballs if you get picked Iowa, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I originally had picked Iowa to win this game, Alex, but I like Missouri's offense. Iowa, traditionally a team who's relied on defense throughout the season, coming in, losing 4 in a row, I believe, after crushing Michigan State in suspension to wide receiver Darryl Johnson-Koulianos and Adam Robinson, the running back, really make this difficult for Iowa.
All right, so the pick is Missouri in the Insight Bowl. Now let's move on to the Texas Bowl, another Big Ten matchup, Illinois and Baylor. Probably a lot of points are going to be scored in this one. Of course, Robert Griffin of Baylor, one of the great dual-threat quarterbacks in the country. They're in Waco, Texas. Who's your pick in this bowl?
I like Baylor. I know they've come off a couple losses here towards the end of the season, but really a strong team, was ranked at one point, and really, I think, overmatches their opponent in this one.
Yeah, Illinois gave up a whole lot of yards and a whole lot of points to Denard Robinson, and Robert Griffin isn't Denard Robinson, but he's pretty close.
Exactly, and Illinois not with too many quality wins this year. We saw them beat Penn State, but really other than that, struggled here in Ann Arbor, and 6 mediocre wins there for the Illini.
And also, they just lost their last game to Fresno State in Fresno. All right, let's move on to the Alamo Bowl, Chris. Oklahoma State, Arizona. Arizona, known for its good defense. Oklahoma State, known for top 5 in the country offense.
Exactly. I think if Arizona State has any chance of staying in this one, it'll
Arizona,
be, Arizona.
Right.
It's a result of Nick Foles, their quarterback, really an NFL prospect, the junior playing phenomenal and really leading that offense. But Oklahoma State has an offense of their own, and they are one of the top 25 teams in the country in offense. I think will just be too much for Arizona State. Arizona's
for Arizona. The Arizona State game was very interesting as well. Arizona missing 2 extra points and ended up losing by 1 in overtime, a blocked extra point to lose it.
Right.
I watched that game. It was a good one. All right, what about the Military Bowl? Maryland and East Carolina. We know East Carolina has a great intro, and we'll show that to you a little bit later. But the Terrapins, and they're very lovable. A whole lot of Maryland's coach to love. Ralph, I forget what his last name is, the Fridge. Who do you have in this matchup?
You know, as poor as Maryland's offense is, East Carolina's defense is that much worse. One of the few teams to make a bowl game whose defense is ranked lower than Michigan, East Carolina gives up 43 points a game. I don't know how you can afford to win a game like that when your defense gives up so many. It's a miracle they're sitting there at 6-6 right now.
Yeah, and I mean, again, not a power conference really.
Not at all.
That Maryland's playing.
Coming out of Conference USA.
So what was your pick again?
I have Maryland.
Maryland, okay, all right. And then finally, the Pinstripe Bowl, Syracuse and Kansas State. I was going to make a joke about Kansas State going from one Manhattan to the other. That's incorrect. That's not where Yankee Stadium is. That should just be a cool game due to its location, Chris. But what about the actual product on the field?
I think Kansas State's going to be too much coming out of the Big 12 conference there. Syracuse does have some good wins this year over West Virginia, who at the time was ranked.
Right.
But I think Kansas State offensively is also a very strong team in the conferences. Big 12, I think, poses a little tougher competition this year than we've seen in the Big East.
Right.
And like we said, I don't know if you can call the Big East a power conference anymore.
Well, Syracuse digging themselves out of a big hole, dug by, drum roll please, Greg Robinson. All right,
There you go.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Now let's take a look at the picks for myself, Adam, David, and Scott.